Thanks, Frank. And thank you all for having me present about the Society for Experimental Biology and Medicine. If some of what I say sounds familiar, it is, because I presented it in March 21. I think I was one of the first societies to present here, and Sally was on maternal leave, so it didn't get recorded. So so I'm back for that purpose. But it'll be a little bit of an update from them. But I want to sort of start by telling you that some credit here is due to our former board member, Chris Curran, who was the one who actually took my suggestion to the executive committee at the time that we make these presentations a regular part of our board meetings. And I still think it's a really good thing for us to be able to share among each other the real tangible kind of in the trench kind of things that we do in our societies. And again, the spirit of collaboration. So the SEBM is a little bit different than most of our societies because of its breadth. It's really a very multidisciplinary society that spans all the way from anatomy, biochemistry, cell biology, neuroscience, pharmacology, physiology, systems biology, into others as well. And it's very much translational. And you might ask, well, why have this kind of really broad kind of society? And I'll tell you that the value for the members is very clear, because we all have our disciplinary societies, but what we often lack are the connections we can make with people outside our fields. And those connections can be really, very creative and draw us in different directions. My personal example is basically getting to know I'm a neuroscientist, getting to know a structural biologist who was working on the same receptor that I was interested in, and was able to spur collaborations where I wouldn't have met that person at neuroscience or endocrinology type meetings. The society is also global. About a third of our membership is outside of the U.S., and that also reflects the nature of our journal, Experimental Biology and Medicine, I'll get to. And finally, it's an exceptionally collegial organization on purpose. The atmosphere there is really one that welcomes people from different disciplines and to come into it. An example of that is our ex-president, Lou Justament, who's a member of our council, and he has his own disciplinary societies and all as well. But it's a very welcoming kind of place, and you all are certainly more than welcome to join us at any point. Our current membership is about 1,600. Again, about a third of that is international. The history is an old one. It started at Columbia in New York and in the early 1900s. But from the very early stage, it was very much focused upon supporting work of younger scientists in biology and medicine. That focus on career development has also remained central for us over the years. So a lot of what Vijay was talking about in terms of the ECR report really resonated with us. And yes, we do have students who are voting members on our council. We also offer free membership to all students, which I think is again an important thing for us. And students, we have student awards and activities that I'll show you. So we've had some changes over the last couple of years that basically are sort of pandemic related. Up to 2019, we had 2 meetings per year. One was our annual meeting at the EB meeting, and the other is an international experimental biology medicine conference. And with the pandemic, we moved to virtual events in those 2 years by necessity, but they actually turned out to be very good for us in enlarging the scope, and particularly for our trainees. We did series on career development. This was one that my wife, Lika Kulin, who's nationally active in this area, did. And we also did series of webinars on different topics, including sickle cell, spinal cord injury, a range of others. So that was good. And this past year, now we've gotten back to in person. Oh, sorry, Sally, can you move? Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, guys. Now I need to go back. Hold on, there we go. Sorry, Sally. So yeah, I know. So we basically returned to in-person with a vengeance this year. We had two international conferences, one that was scheduled for actually in 20, and then had to be delayed to 21, and then again had to be delayed until this year, but ended up being a terrific international conference on regenerative medicine, hosted at the University of Tennessee Health Center in Memphis. And then we also had a conference, international conference in Brazil in the fall. And the one in Brazil, I think, is interesting to note that it was a joint meeting with the Brazilian Society of Virology. So some ways it reflects again this idea of co-location of meetings that we're considering for SRC, and it worked actually extraordinarily well. We had an attendance of about 500, actually over 500, and it was a terrific meeting, including posters on the beach, which I've never done before, and I heartily recommend that to your societies. And again, very good trainee participation in this one as well. And so let me say a few words about our journal, which is for us again a major source of our income as a society, and has actually been really again kind of reflective of what we do. 5-year impact factor of 4.556, pretty decent. Again, the breadth of our society represented here in our journal with 22 scientific categories, and each of them having associate editors. It's also global, and this has really, I think, helped us over the years to expand that we have offices and editors in Taiwan, Great Britain, Brazil, and Ghana, and again, editorial board with 20 associate editors, of which I'm one of those. More than 1,200 submissions in both in 2020 and 21. So we saw the bump with the pandemic, I think, as most journals did. But it looks like we're on track to go beyond that this year with about 1,300. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact we have global editors and we're kind of reaching out, in terms of what we do. Acceptance rate is really pretty decent at 25%. And most importantly, this last year, we were using Sage as a publisher. We decided in agreement with Sage that we would terminate that this past year. We interviewed 4 publishers. We decided to go with Frontiers as open access. This was before the OSTP policy. So we credit our clairvoyance, right, in thinking ahead. But quite honestly, it was really sorry, I'm forgetting to, we actually, the decision was really a financial one. It was much, as Darla knows, was much more favorable to us to be able to move to Frontiers. It's going to provide us a very steady source of income over the coming years, which I think is going to help us to continue to expand as a society. And so finally, a couple of the things about challenges for us, and major challenges, we're now coming back to that in-person annual meeting here in the States, not our international meeting. And we actually have a date scheduled for that in October of 24, but we're still debating about the exact format of that, whether it will involve hybrid elements, whether there'll be some regional components to it or not. And as I'll mention, this is one of the things that's been of real value to us is participation, again, in discussions we've had here at FASEB about meetings. We want to increase membership, particularly global membership, and including our trainees. And I can mention here, getting back to Vijay's report, because we're such a broad society, we can offer the kind of cross-discipline, cross-society opportunities for career development for ECRs to explore what different kind of career, different disciplines would be like to change into. And finally, yeah, we do have the challenge of balancing the global versus regional priorities. Our meetings help to do that, one international meeting, one US meeting. The advantages here for FASEB helping us, one is just what I mentioned before, the best practices technology for meetings and conferences, thanks to Andrea and the meetings committee. We've had some very interesting, fruitful conversations about the pros and cons and where meetings are going in the future, including we participated in a Keystone conference on reimagining future conferences about a month ago, which was, I think, very, very useful. Regular and training member engagement, I think, is important to us. I'm going to make that one of my personal efforts to try to get our folks more involved. And as I mentioned before, collaboration with other societies. We're actually, with our experience with partnering with the Brazilian Society for Virology, and because we're so broad, we can almost partner with any of your disciplinary societies here. And I would welcome that inquiry if there's any of your societies who'd be interested in partnering with us in a small or larger context of a meeting. Please come in and reach out to me and talk to me. Overall, I think I'll end there. If you have any questions, I'm happy to. But let me just tell you again what a pleasure it's been for me to be serving on this board as both a representative of the society, but also, as Kevin and Frank says, as a fiduciary responsible board member here for the future of FASEB.
Thanks, Mike. So SEBM sounds like it's come out of COVID quite strong.
Yeah, I think, again, a lot of it is the positioning globally that we had with the journal, with our membership, and also, again, seeing the transition to virtual is not something that we would abandon, that we would build upon what we were doing already. But yeah, I think the society has a really, again, a very committed and collegial base of support among its members. And yeah, I'll just say again that it really, the value is for us, and many of us are members of multiple societies, and we get a lot out of that. And this is one of those examples where being a member of society where you run into people you don't normally run into in your disciplines really is a great way for us to cultivate collaboration. In a sense, it's a little microcosm of what FASEB does.
Yep. So I think one tidbit I took away is, in terms of future focus, is posters on the beach may be something we need to think more about. JC, question?
Yeah, just was wondering, how many of your members are members of other societies? Is that all of them are members elsewhere, or is this dedicated?
It's a great question, JC. We don't have data so that I can share, but I can tell you anecdotally, yes, that almost everyone who is a member of a disciplinary society, at least one as well, and sometimes multiple. And so you might ask, well, how do they have the resources, or why do they make the decision to come to our meeting? We make the meeting very easy, attractive to get to, but we don't have, again, with small size meetings, usually our meetings are around 400, 500.
Ida?
Yeah, for city visit to have a meeting.
Excuse me?
For city in Brazil.
Sorry.
For city in Brazil, you had that meeting.
I'll need to check. It was it's a beach resort north of Rio.
Okay.
I'll get the information to you.
Búzios. Probably it's Búzios. And how many trainees went?
Yeah, it was so the total attendance was 560, and I think more than half of that were trainees.
Oh, that,
and
so their
I
bosses
think,
were pretty
not
good.
surprisingly, largest number were from Brazil.
Of course.
Right? But it was,
That's the travel.
yeah, but it was fantastic. It was great.
Didn't the beach noise, the wave noise dampen your presentations at the
So,
posters?
all right, full honesty here, the weather changed about halfway through the poster session. We had to move quickly inside.
Yeah, that's what we did. We did a meeting down there also for the same reason. So what is your membership?
Excuse me?
What is the society's membership?
Yeah, I had on the first slide. 1,600.
Okay.
Yeah, and
pretty good.
that's actually, again, that has grown over the last few years, I think due to, again, mostly global membership.
And you have more global members than US members?
No, about a third.
Okay.
About a third are global.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other questions? Sorry,
A
Liz.
quick
Oh, okay,
question,
we
if
do,
student
okay.
memberships are free, how many are student members?
Yeah, almost half. How do you like that? I was really one of the proponents. Yeah, almost half, because our major income is coming from the journal, right? So, and I think it's really part of our core mission here, is to engage as many students. And of course, we want them to be loyal members, right? And then become members when they're, quite honestly, if they become loyal members of your societies, other societies, if they serve science, okay? that we're doing our job.
Good.
Right.
Pam?
Great question. We actually go to, we look to the journal and our different categories there, and we try to sort of rotate and focus on the areas that are the most, sort of current hot topics things, but they're diverse. For example, the upcoming meeting, one of them will be a session on mind and brain and gut related. I mean, crosses
Nice.
right between neuroscience and metabolism and other systems. And we try to tap into our associate editors and editorial board as well in terms of ideas.
So you
for
don't
those
see the
sessions.
same topics regenerating each time?
Oh, it's different. Oh, and every international conference has a different topic.
And you're pulling from different areas, different groups of people?
Yeah, so for the international one in particular, we do try to find a local organization or group, like the one in Brazil that we did for virology because it was infectious disease and we wanted to partner with them. But we've done meetings again all over the world. I participated in one in Croatia that was focused on circadian rhythms and had the University of Reykjavik as partner in there because there were some colleagues there wanted to do it.
So I think you're really tapping into something. I mean, I've been running meetings for the Common Fund for the past few years, and this idea of looking for hot topics and cross disciplines to put together meetings has been extremely successful.
Yeah.
And it really invigorates the field and changes the way people look at things in a paradigm sense.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, do that. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mike. So